chanting every line. You're tuned to the truth that you'll never find online. Come on. It's the glow of Ron and Brian. If you're in, you ain't ever going quiet. Twist that dial, let the whole world hear it. Two sharp minds in the bad influence spirit. Hey, glow of Ron and Brian. Welcome to the ride, you're inside it now.
All right, good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night, and it is time for episode 415 of the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast. As always, I'm joined by the man who is to this podcast what the ice cream machine is to McDonald's. He's here, but people are not surprised to see that he's not working. Brian, how the hell are you this evening?
I am offended. That is exactly how I am doing. I am offended that you went to the effort to come up with that analogy to sit there and say that I don't put the work in. Because the work is so important. How dare you?
I'm just throwing some things out there, seeing what sticks. But that aside, how the hell are you tonight?
I'm doing okay. It is Sunday night. I got a long work week ahead. Many milestones. I need to figure out multiple ways to increase shareholder value while aligning my priorities with stakeholders. It's going to be a great week.
I mean, will you be trying to find some synergy?
Ooh, you know me. I love synergy. And you know what I also love? Anytime somebody points out your lousy Philly adjacent internet. It's such a true
I gotta blame
joy.
Xfinity on that one. I'm still not
you
sure
are
why.
so Ron, you are so pixelated from my perspective right now.
All right, well, listen, then you can be the better looking one this week.
Which actually leaves you looking better than normal. So we'll take it. We will take it.
Well, let's get rolling here, folks. It is time to start things off with Drink of the Week.
Well, welcome aboard. Don't spill your brew. We've got one cup and maybe two. A mystery pour in a paper sleeve, the kind that makes the wise men grieve. Hey, drink of the week, drink of the week. Raise it up, let the anchors creak. Drink of the week, drink of the week. Bottoms up for the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast.
Oh, such a banger that is. Banger after banger after banger we have tonight. Last week, I was on the road. We didn't have the chance to share the same beer like we had the last few weeks. But since I'm back in the home base, Brian, we are doing our final collab beer between Other Half Brewing and Junior's Bakery in Brooklyn, New York. Brian, tell us a little bit about what we are going to be drinking this week.
Ron, this week, thanks to our friends, this is so bright. Look at that shine. The shine, I tell you, people. Oh, he's got the shine. Just like the kid in Jack Nicholson's
As Good as It Gets?
Shining movie. There we go. Strawberry Dream. Oh, yes, people. Strawberry Dream. This is a hazy strawberry oat cream IPA brewed with the world's friends over at Junior's. This is going to give us creamy, hoppy strawberry vibes. It's brewed with Strata, Crush, Cryo, Strawberry, and Ron, your personal favorite, lactose. This beer is coming in at 8.5 ABV. So you know it's going to be a good after dark after we do the show today. Also of note, Beer Advocate has finally caught up with these Other Half collabs with Juniors. They have now officially given out scores. This beer rates a 91. Outstanding. Ron, I know you're excited. I'm going to tell you, why don't you take the first sip? Let's show a little champ's privilege.
All right, I got the same beer in the old school Ron and Brian glass. Let's take a sip here.
we obviously cannot watch you take that sip because you're frozen, but that's
Oh, geez.
okay.
It's tasty. I'll give you that. It's heavy. You can definitely taste that it's a higher alcohol beer. You can get the oatiness. You can get the lactose. Not a lot of strawberry. Take a sip and let me know what you think.
I taste some sweetness. I would not describe this as strawberry.
Right.
Fuck, no.
Not a fan, are you?
I don't know if it's the lactose or whether it's just that fucking just bitter aftertaste. It's kind of like that time you dropped a load in my mouth and you were just like, swallow it, biatch, and like smacked the back of my head. I think that we were in college at the time. Could have been about 2 weeks ago. But this is such a bitter aftertaste. I don't know why anybody would enjoy this.
I would say, I didn't want to talk it down too much since they are still paying us, but that's all right. If you want
paying us,
speak your voice.
Ron, I've not seen any of that money. So when you say they're paying us, what is left for me to imply there if none of the funds are trickling to me, 49% owner?
Next up, folks, of course, we've got Beef of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
So, Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you in a minute. And as I do that, I'm going to try and log on to the other Wi-Fi network here and see if that is any better. But, Brian, before I go, would you mind telling the people what's bothering you this week?
Sure, I'll take over this. Let me ramble while you upgrade your internet. My beef of the week right now is the staff in my primary care physician's office. People have been asking me, throughout this summer. We're 2 months in, not hot pad. I will not say it, but we are. Did you really cut me off while
I did.
we were
I don't know what happened there.
Unbelievable, Ron. Listen. I know you've got champ's privilege, but to sit there and tell Matt to drop me off the main feed just because you wanted to come back on, rudeness, absolutely rudeness. But my point is, so people have been asking me for updates on my sweating situation this summer. It's bad as ever. So I decided I was going to go back to my primary care physician and say, hey, listen, the sweat medication you were giving me, not doing a damn thing. I'm still melting on my commute to work. So I have that appointment earlier this week. I go to my primary care physician. I'm like, listen, you gave me a dosage. It's not working. What can we do? So they said, listen, it looks like we put you on like a starter level of medication. We were giving you 10 milligrams a day. This is what we're going to do. We're going to give you 40 milligrams twice a day. When you wake up in the morning, first thing you do, pop 40 milligrams. I don't even remember the name of it. Then later on in the day, pop another 40. So this way to try and keep you dry on the way home. If that doesn't work, these are your next two options. One, go to a dermatologist that specializes in hyperhidrosis. And if that doesn't work, go to a thoracic surgeon who's going to give you a surgery where they go inside and snip nerve endings that specifically control the body's sweat message from the brain. And the guy just could see my face of like, what on earth are you're going to be like doing? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I know it sounds pretty invasive and it might sound scary. He goes, but that will stop you from sweating. And I'm like, but I want to sweat some. I just don't want to sweat profusely. He's like, you've reached that point where if this medicine doesn't help anymore, we go right, like we're going to do a dermatologist for some kind of specialized treatment. And if that doesn't work, your only other recourse is surgery. I'm like, ugh. I literally was like, ugh. So I say to them, I'm like, okay, so they're like, we're going to go to the front desk. We're going to give you your referral to the dermatologist and make your appointment. Okay. So I go up to the front. I'm like, I look at the young lady. I'm like, I need a referral. She's like, yep, I see it in the system. Let me find somebody that's in your network, and I will have a seat, and I will print it up for you. Sit for a couple of minutes. She prints out this sheet. It's like a 3 font. There's like 9,000 words on the page. It's poorly formatted, but I can kind of figure out where the referral physician is. Take the paper and leave. It is only the next day when I go to make that phone call to schedule my appointment with my dermatologist, I see that they've given me a referral to the thoracic surgeon, which is I'm not ready for the surgery yet. So I call my physician's office. This is the beef. The young lady that answers the phone says, oh, yes, I see it in here. We gave you a referral. I'm like, yeah, you gave me the referral for the dermatologist. You gave me the referral for the surgeon, not the dermatologist. Literally, as I'm finishing the word dermatologist, she cuts me off and she goes, we gave you a referral to the physician that was specifically selected by your doctor. I'm like, what? Are you throwing me attitude? You guys fucked up. I'm being respectful. And keep in mind, I know when I'm being respectful. I know when I'm being a sarcastic asshole. And I know when I'm being rude.
You're aware of that.
I know the differences. And I was being a respectful. I literally was just like, no. But like I said, I spoke when I was in the room with the physician. He said, yes, the surgeon is the last recourse, but we first should go at a dermatologist. And she said, hold on, let me speak to the physician. Puts me on hold. 8 minutes go by. I literally was about to give up. I was going to pull the asshole move where I was going to hang up and then call them back to say, oh, we must have gotten disconnected somehow. I was on hold, blah, 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 blah. So just as I was about to give up, she jumps back on the call and says, oh, I just spoke with the physician. We're going to be giving you an updated referral to a dermatologist. I just said, thank you very much. And we both hung up and went our separate ways. It's the fact that my own primary care physician, their staff doesn't have the fucking decency just to say, oh, I'm sorry, we gave you the wrong referral. That's all that we needed. That's all we needed was just oh, I'm sorry, we made a mistake. But she threw me attitude. She just gave me attitude like, oh, we gave you a referral to the doctor that was specifically chosen by your physician. Oh, was I offended? Fucking offended. That is my beef of the week, Ron. The medical system in this country continues to hit lower and lower standards.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Brian. We certainly want all of your medical conditions to be fixed.
Can I update my beef of the week to this beer? This is...
So Billy asked the question, would you take that beer over the PBR pickle? I think I would take this beer over the PBR pickle beer, but I'm curious to hear what you would say, Brian.
I think I would be much better with the PBR pickle. Don't get me wrong. Tomorrow, I would have terrible flatulence in the office. Coworkers would walk in and be like, oh, I'll come back tomorrow and ask you that question I have about my children's health care benefits. But Jesus Christ, I got to leave here, Brian. The aftertaste on this is putrid. Ron, let me ask you a question.
Sure,
other than your internet, what's bothering you?
So my beef this week, Brian, is with the Mann Center for the Performing Arts. It's a concert venue in the Philadelphia adjacent area, close to the zoo. One of those amphitheater type setups, so similar to Saratoga Performing Arts Center.
Sure.
Similar to PNC Bank in Holmdel, New Jersey.
Yes.
Similar to the amphitheater in Camden, New Jersey. Similar to Brian. Give me a few more.
You're basically looking at every amphitheater that's out there where they have the inside seats near the stage, and then they got the lawn seats coming up in the back.
William was there in 2010 for Faith No More. Great venue. And it used to be probably one of the more affordable places to go see a show. They didn't charge you for parking because it's located in Fairmount Park. So it's all just grass fields that you're parking on. They used to be able to bring in your own chairs to sit on the lawn if you had lawn seats. food prices weren't ridiculous. Well, in the last couple of years, like 2 years ago, they made it so that you can't bring in any of your own lawn chairs, but they'll rent you a lawn chair for 15
Really?
bucks, $10 if you rent it ahead of time. And then parking is now anywhere from $25 to $40 for depending on how close you want to park to the man center. And then just the food prices, I would say, are Yankee Stadium equivalent. Like a mixed drink, $26. A beer, $20. Even like stuff that we can get, like you get some water ice, Brian. $5 normally. It's $12 now at the man. So it just seems like, and I get it, they're quote unquote a nonprofit, so they're trying to raise money for whatever it is they do. But it just feels like they've been just chipping away at the people that go there. Like, and we were nice enough to have some friends give us tickets that they had won for the show that we went to see. Still dropped between parking and drinks and food there. Still dropped close to $150.
Ooh, did you? And that's not even think about it. That doesn't even include the ticket.
That's what I'm saying.
Nowadays, those tickets cost easily $100 just to walk in the door, and that's the worst ticket available. So imagine like you have something. Yeah, everything. It's so expensive now.
So anyway, that's enough of our griping. Let's get to our stories of the week, Brian. As many people know, these are the stories that we see throughout the week. We nurse, we coddle them, we tuck them against our ample bosom, and then we share them with you folks, our fans. So, Brian, what is your story of the week this week?
My story of the week this week takes us up to Natick, New York. My story of the week takes us up to Natick, Massachusetts, a story that is personal to me because I was receiving updates from my sister in my family group chat because she is located in the general vicinity of that area where a local man was recently arrested after roaming around the neighborhood in a black and white mime costume. He's been accused of frightening women for months at a popular state park where prosecutors say he allegedly stripped to his underwear, slathered himself in cooking oil, and worked out very close to female employees before later collapsing in court as the allegations were read aloud. Hernan Villagran Lux, 29, of Framingham, Massachusetts, facing criminal harassment charges after 3 female State Department of Conservation and Recreation employees had up to over 50 encounters with him over the past 2 months at a Natick State Park near Boston. Prosecutors said all 3 women knew Lux by name and appearance, and one reported more than 50 encounters with him. The allegations also sparked warnings on social media where local individuals were spreading photos of him, not just dressed in a literally in a what looked like a tuxedo with tails, but also slathering himself with cooking oil, which I guess is a crime nowadays, but I don't know.
Well, Brian, you are our senior lubrication expert here on the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast. Why do you think he went with cooking oil?
He went with cooking oil simply because of the juxtaposition of the white cooking oil with his bronze skin. Thought likely that it would make him more attractive to females. Unfortunately, his encounters were becoming increasingly bold. In one instance, prosecutors allege he stripped down to his underwear, slathered himself in cooking oil all over his body, and began to work out right by local staff. I'm going to say the man probably has some mental issues. Here's a good question that Williams got. What oil would you use to slather yourself in before working out close to... first off, I would fucking love to have this guy's stomach. I mean, if I could get rid of my...
Look at the definition. This guy does not skip leg day either. I mean, he is toned.
He is working out.
Oil-wise, I mean, I think you got to go... If you're in the direct sunlight like that, you have to go with something with a high... smoke point. I'd go avocado oil. personally.
Really interesting. But yeah, so he has now been arrested. He is now in the criminal system. Let's hope he gets the help he needs, and at the same time comes out learning that he is wronged and must pay a penalty for and a punishment for his wrong behavior.
And I saw another picture of him where he's like completely gray. So the fact that he's supposedly 29 years old just kind of, nothing makes someone look older than a head of gray hair. Next up, Brian, my story. Can I give you my story, Brian?
Ron, the people are demanding your story of the week. What is the story over the past 7 days that captured the true imagination of our podcast champion?
So a sprawling Guardian investigation has pulled back the curtain on what online circles have grimly nicknamed the Dollar Tree Gooner phenomenon. Men targeting female shoppers in Dollar Tree stores across the country, exposing themselves, masturbating, and in multiple documented cases, ejaculating on victims, often filming it for online clout. The Guardian traced a pattern going back years, but escalating hard, no pun intended, since 2023, with reported incidents jumping from under 5 a year to as many as 18 annually. This is a photo from a TikTok that a Texas woman put up recently saying a man ejaculated on her while she shopped, and staff reportedly reacted that it was routine, with one cashier saying, quote, "We've got another one." A Houston woman's lawsuit claims a clerk told her she was the third assault victim at that location in 4 days. Multiple suspects have already been arrested or prosecuted, including a Philadelphia case where rapper Meek Mill put a bounty on the perpetrator's head. Lawyers argue understaffed stores create soft target conditions criminals have learned to exploit.
Really?
I would argue that Dollar Tree isn't the only understaffed store out there. Not quite sure why the Gooner phenomenon has hit Dollar Tree. Brian, any thoughts on your end?
Why would you ask me? I mean, first off, I don't understand the Gooner community. To me, the idea of masturbating for hours at a time just sounds exhausting. And I don't have the attention span to do anything for hours at a time. Sure. Much less work for my employer. But at the same time, I also don't understand why the thrill to ejaculate on some poor, unsuspecting woman in a Dollar Tree. I mean, as Mr. Saletti here says, you do that in a Whole Foods, you're going to get a much more defined calf. I mean, you're going to see you're dealing with yoga babes. They're going to be working out. They're going to be wearing the yoga pants. You're going to be able. You're not just going to get.
You're going to be able to rub one out before putting a side of beef into a grocery bag without ringing it in at the self-checkout stand.
Listen, what I do and don't pay for in the checkout stand, that's not the point. Dare you? How dare you?
Billy's saying you do it in Chick-fil-A, Dunkin', anywhere.
No, I don't steal food from anywhere but Whole Foods.
No, I think he meant the gooning.
Oh, no. I would never goon in a Dunkin' Donuts. Ooh.
All right. Ooh. Rather than goon, you know what people do, Brian? They should join our Patreon. If they go to cultofronandbrian.com, they can click in the upper right-hand corner. We've talked before, folks, about why this is such a great idea. But why is tonight's episode of After Dark so special, Brian?
Because this is the last Sunday of the month. And what happens once a month? The other Sundays of the month, Ron and I simply do an extra 30, 45 minutes of content. It basically consists of us talking stories, just like we're doing right now. But these are stories that are not necessarily family friendly. These are stories that YouTube would toss us off the air for. These are stories that Facebook would start to sweat like I do on the way to work and would literally ban us. These are stories, spicy, sexy, however you want to, provocative if you would. These are the stories that we talk about during After Dark. However, once a month, we do a special episode of our After Dark, which we refer to as our pajama party. And what do we do there? We invite our Patreons who are on for the silver or higher level.
Bronze. Actually,
Bronze.
It's so good a deal, we started giving it to our bronze subscribers.
Got it. So our bronze and higher, which is $10 a month. Who here doesn't have $10 a month to carve out from their monthly budget? However, for as little as $10 a month, you come in at the bronze level, you get a link to come on the show with us. You are on the show just like Ron and I now. And what do? We do a monthly Can You Beat game. Now, Ron originally suggested we do a Can You Beat Off game where we basically, everybody has their own corner and we goon in that corner. The last person has to eat the cookie. I found that vulgar, childish, sophomoric, unnecessary. So what we do is we do a Can You Beat Ron game every other month. And on the other months, we do a Can You Beat Brian game. Last month, we had a thrilling Can You Beat Ron game where Ron didn't show up. I mean, Ron physically was there. Mentally,
I was there.
I
was there, but I did not compete at the highest level that everyone has come to expect.
We did a game on investment scams. Ron, you got 1 out of 15 questions correct. You embarrassed yourself. And as a result, 2 $25 gifts were made in the name of the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast to the charities of the 2 people who beat Ron. This month, we are doing a Can You Beat Brian? Ron, do you want to tell us what the subject of the game will be?
I do not. I want to keep it a secret. That will stay behind the paywall, but it will be challenging. And it will be, listen, it's going to be interesting. So you still have time. Go to cultofronandbrian.com, click in the upper right-hand corner, become a patron. Going back into our stories, Brian, 26 Meta employees are suing the company, alleging it used AI-generated performance scores, keystroke monitoring, and activity dashboards to help pick who got cuts in its 8,000-person layoff round this spring. And that the system disproportionately targeted people on medical, parental, or family leave. The suit says scores by design can't be racked up by someone who's on leave or whose output is reduced by a disability, and claims Meta didn't adjust for that before using the numbers to make cuts. About half the plaintiffs took leave for pregnancy or caregiving. One man says a manager warned him that taking approved medical leave would get him laid off. Meta says the claims are baseless and that humans, not AI, made the calls. The suit leans on what is called the disparate impact doctrine, the idea that a neutral-looking policy can still be illegal discrimination if it hits one group harder, even as the Trump administration has been pushing federal agencies to stop enforcing that concept. Brian, your HR career has pretty much depended on this disparate impact strategy.
No.
How do you feel Meta will be able to defend themselves against this?
Oh, I think they have no choice but other to offer some type of settlement. I mean, you absolutely cannot punish people who are taking any type of legally protected leave, whether it be Family Medical Leave Act, whether it be any type of disability act. You cannot punish these people or treat them separate or different in any way, shape, or form. This is a huge HR violation, and Meta should go down for it.
All right. Also in technology news, Brian, are you familiar with flock cameras and how they have started to penetrate all of American society?
What I do know, Ron, is that you can go flock yourself.
Oh, boy. Well, so flock cameras are supposed to be used for public safety. Many people are saying that they are being misused, and a recent investigation lays out a compelling case where it shows a number of police chiefs, those being the ones that write the rules on surveillance technology, using flock license plate reader systems to track women they used to date. A headline case of this, a Holiday Hills, Illinois police chief is charged with a felony after allegedly running plates on 6 people he knew personally, including 3 ex-partners and one of their new boyfriends. That man's plate got searched up to 178 times, sometimes off duty, culminating in an ominous voicemail left by the police chief that said, quote, "This is the only time I'm going to be nice about this." Other documented cases include an Idaho sheriff who ran his wife's plate over 700 times, labeling each search a test, and a Kansas police chief who tracked his ex and her new boyfriend hundreds of times combined. Flock's own chief legal officer admitted on the record that this kind of, quote, "someone does something stupid, X tracking" is actually the most common form of misuse, while the company's official line insists that it only tracks vehicles, not people.
So it's tracking the vehicle. So these people are putting in like their ex's car's license plate, and they're getting a report of the locations of the vehicle
Correct.
as it drives
Yes.
around.
Yes, they are tracking these license plates as they ping the various Flock cameras.
Now, has anybody tracked you? Is there any way to put in your license plate to see if it's been tracked? Because I would tell you that during the early 2020s, your license plate was probably entered into the Flock system by Long Island police departments who are searching for the Gilgo Beach murderer.
Really?
I believe that there was a period of time, I know you don't really want to talk about it on the show, but there was a period of time where you were considered the number one suspect for the man who was murdering and chopping up the bodies of sex workers all throughout southern Long Island for the better part of a decade. You were the cops' number one suspect. I remember the number of times they would, basically come to your place. I mean, it was borderline harassment. They were showing up to your place of work. This was when
This time's gotta stop.
All right, Ryan. Sorry to cut you off right there. You seem to be going off on a bit of a tangent again. We can discuss that later though. Happening.
What do we got? Come on.
We saw in the news a van attack at a Berlin Pride festival. There's one person reported dead so far, 15 plus injured. A van plowed into crowds at Berlin's Christopher Street Day Pride celebration last night before crashing into a tree into Tiergarten Park. Hundreds of thousands had gathered peacefully for hours, dancing behind roughly 80 parade floats when the attack happened, just after the festivities wrapped for the evening. Some victims reportedly showed possible stab wounds in addition to injuries from the vehicle, although police say it's too early to draw conclusions there. Police have identified a 21-year-old suspect going under the name of Abdul D. They have not released a full name yet. But he is described as known to police with ties to Islamic circles in Berlin. He remains at large as of the latest reports. More than 2,200. You're saying he's been caught since then? We have an update? We have a Ron and Brian update?
Update was New York Times reported that he was shot, killed in a gunfire incident with the police department.
All right. Well, wraps that up rather neatly. Berlin's mayor called it a, quote, attack on our free and cosmopolitan society.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there is a segment of society that is not a big fan of the LGBTQ plus community. However, that doesn't mean it's okay to get into your truck and drive into traffic and run people over. If it is true, the media reports are that he's dead, I am all for it.
All right. Bold stand to say you're okay with a murderer being taken out himself.
Well,
Bold.
I mean, I think I'm on the side of common sense here.
All right. Brian, I know you are as much a fan of the TikTok as I am. And I think you've
Love the
seen a
TikTok.
recent trend lately, people doing the setup of when they are doing, going to be filmed for the Netflix documentary of whatever
Sure.
random thing they want
Yeah.
to pick
Where
up.
where
Well,
I sit down in a chair and I look off camera while I'm putting on the microphone on my shirt, and then it says on the thing, me preparing for the Netflix documentary on how I've been verbally abused by my podcast champion for the past 3 years because he has a small penis. And like that's all like
right.
paragraphs of text.
Right, exactly. Well, that has turned deadly, Brian, because Sarah Gilson, age 43, a Tulsa area hairstylist and social media influencer with over 30,000 TikTok followers, was shot and killed by her estranged husband, Jeremiah Sean Duffy, in an apparent murder-suicide at their Owasso, Oklahoma home. 2 days earlier, Gilson had posted a viral TikTok using the popular mock documentary trend, publicly accusing Duffy of being a pedophile. That video hit 15 million views. Court records show that she had been granted an emergency protective order against him a month prior. And on the same day, the mother of a 15-year-old Duffy coached in youth basketball filed a separate protective order alleging inappropriate contact with the teen. A family member called 911 after hearing gunshots. Both Gilson and Duffy were found dead of gunshot wounds. She leaves behind 2 children for whom a fundraiser has been set up.
Jeez. I'm just going to say, I saw that video on TikTok about 24 hours before she died.
Yeah,
And saw it, didn't think much of it because as soon as I see influencers and whatnot, I tap out because I just think it's gross that these people are really just trying to sell themselves as personalities without really offering any real level of entertainment. Not like a podcast host. And I was just like, oh, well, that's creepy. I wonder how she knows he's a pedophile. And then, no joke, 24 hours later, I saw the article in the Post saying that she had been shot to death, which was utterly insane. People, be careful who you talk about on social media. I mean, I had to take down a series of 10 to 12 videos, Ron, that I had made of you with various allegations, all in quotation marks.
sure,
All
sure.
in quotation marks.
Allegations. You made it clear to point out.
I referred to my podcast champion. I did not name names, but I had to take them all down after you sent me the link to the article saying, hey, this person's been killed. Maybe you want to take down some videos before you're killed. I took it as a threat to my personal safety, but so be it.
Listen, sometimes you just gotta grow a backbone, walk it off a little bit.
Interesting.
Brian, this
Interesting, yes.
is Charlotte Rose Ann Hill, a mom from Australia who was setting up a backyard barbecue at her Sydney home to roast marshmallows during school holidays when she caught fire in front of her 11-year-old son and 7-year-old daughter. Her daughter's scream alerted their father, who administered first aid and rushed Charlotte to the hospital. His son had tried to help by taking off his own jacket to smother the flames. She suffered severe burns to her face and hands, and family said she initially seemed to be improving, talking with her kids, recovering well after surgery before she was found unresponsive and later died from complications. Authorities haven't detailed exactly how the fire started. Her cousin remembered her as someone whose laugh the family will never hear again.
Yikes.
Does this story sound on the up and up to you, Brian?
It reminds me of a Jerky Boys skit. I believe it was called The Gay Model, about a man who soaks himself in lamp oil and then burns himself in front of a crowd.
I was more thinking of the fact, like, doesn't it seem a little suspicious that all she was doing was setting up a fire to roast marshmallows and then managed to catch fire and get burned over most of her body. Like, do you feel maybe there's something nefarious behind the story that will come out later?
It's possible, Ron, but you told me that one time this was before you had your backyard personal pool inside the gated community, when your HOA allowed backyard barbecues. I remember you told me one time you were setting up a backyard bonfire and you got scarred about the breast, neck, chest, and head. It's a humdinger.
A humdinger. That was your nickname during college, if I remember.
Oh, rise above, Ron. Rise above.
All right. What else do we have here this week, Brian?
We got a lot.
We're gonna go to Nashville now, Brian. A Metro Nashville Police School Resource Officer, Lisa Vidrios, has resigned after her own husband, also an MNPD officer, discovered explicit videos on her phone and turned her in. The investigation found that she'd had sex with a sergeant at least 4 times inside Madison Middle School, where she was assigned to protect students, including once on a couch in her office with kids in the building and staff audibly right outside the door. Additional encounters allegedly happened in a Metro police vehicle while she was on duty. Her husband, Angel Vidrios, first grew suspicious after spotting her stopped in an odd location on their shared Life 360 tracking app, then found text and saved video evidence before filing the complaint. The couple had moved to Nashville together in 2022 and were the first married pair to graduate together from the police academy. Lisa was even handpicked to represent her graduating class in a promotional recruitment video.
Now we know why she was picked for the for participating in that video, because she was banging her boss.
She was banging the sergeant. Listen, on the plus side, one of the few people to have sex inside a middle school, not with a student.
Yes. Why are we not celebrating that fact? Because I feel that that's something that should be recognized.
Right. Like, I mean, listen, cheating on your husband, not good, obviously.
No,
but the fact
of course
that,
not.
She apparently had a very quiet office that she could use in this middle school, and yet somehow managed to keep herself from having sex with 12-year-old boys or girls. You don't know.
Of course,
go both ways.
That's it. Times are different nowadays.
You got to take the good with the bad, Brian.
You have to. Good for her. I mean, like, she chose not to bang students. Good for her.
And listen, if you're going to bang someone, banging your boss is the way to go, from what I've been told.
From what you've been told, I mean, is that not how you became the assistant manager at Sears in when you were in college by banging your boss? You told me that Tim. You said to me that Tim was a very nice guy and that he would always provide you food, and you felt that it was only right that you allowed him to take advantage of you.
All right, next up, we're actually going to go right here in Pennsylvania, Brian. One county over, where a former Bucks County Sheriff's Deputy, Ryan Gaffney, age 46, is facing charges, including official oppression, after prosecutors say he secretly used his personal cell phone to photograph at least 2 men who were naked while in custody, then shared the images with co-workers and personal contacts, quote, in jest. In one case, deputies were executing an arrest warrant on a man having a mental health crisis. Gaffney allegedly covered his own body camera with his hand so it wouldn't record him snapping the photo, though another deputy's camera caught him doing it. The DA says the intent was clear: to humiliate people at their most vulnerable. Gaffney, an Iraq war veteran, was fired in June and is due back in court for a preliminary hearing in August. Now, Brian, you are the senior genital photographer of the Ron and Brian podcast. Acceptable for anyone to do this, much less a law officer?
Listen, I'm going to say this to you. We all watched the recent documentary on Michael Jackson's court case where he went on trial for the molestation of little boys, and there was that scene where he discussed the indignant instance of having his genitals photographed as part of the court case. Somebody has to be the responsible party who's going to take those photos of the genitals. Ron, I remember you told me when you were right out of college and you were doing your wedding DJ business that you actually offered not just the chicken dance and not just the first dance for the wedding couple, but you actually said that, for a small upcharge, you would photograph the genitals of the bride and groom. Now, the thing is this, it's like you want to leave this up to a professional. This is not something you want to just get anybody off the street.
And I think the difference with your example there, Brian, I was getting consent. And as we have often said on many episodes of this podcast, consent is key.
But Ron, I have a question. When the bride is crying and covering and has her hands covering her midsection, is she really giving consent? Because her husband, her groom is sitting there telling you, take the photo, you boy, you take the photo. Like, is that really considered consent?
Contract is a contract. That's all I'm going to say. A contract is a contract.
Interesting, because it sounds as if your definition of consent is more in line with 1780s Pennsylvania Commonwealth as opposed to the 2025 version of it. Really disappointed in you, Ron.
I understand. Going down to Florida now, a 77-year-old mail carrier, Gail Gustino, was arrested after deputies executing a search warrant found at least 70 caged cats and a dozen dogs living in what the sheriff called the worst animal hoarding case Martin County has ever handled. No air conditioning, up to a foot of animal waste on the floor, and a stench detectable from the street. Investigators believe Giustino, who works for USPS and remains employed there, had been collecting feral cats she encountered along her mail route for years. Animal Control had issued her 65 civil citations over the past decade without getting her to cooperate. She reportedly may have offloaded up to 20 additional animals to other facilities before the warrant was served. She now faces 2 misdemeanor animal cruelty charges. Deputies said they held back from harsher charges to move fast and get her into mental health treatment. The animals, some dehydrated and missing fur from stress, are now being cared for by the Humane Society of the Treasure Coast. Now,
but the real question is, Ron, I'm sorry, but was the mail getting to where it was supposed to be getting? I feel like that's the important part of this story. And you did not, you focused on the animals, and I understand it's 2026 and we want to feel good in it. But was she delivering the mail where it was supposed to be going? I feel like if the answer is yes. She was
not cited for not delivering the mail. So I'm going to say she was continuing to do the job. Now, number one, a shame that someone who's 77 years old still has to work in this country.
Of course.
And also, not to kick somebody when they're down, but if someone were to show you this woman's mugshot and say, what do you think this person was arrested for? You probably would say in your first 1 or 2 guesses, well, she's clearly a crazy cat lady.
Oh, I was going to go prostitution. I mean, with that mouth, there's no way she has dentures. I guarantee you there's no way that woman has dentures. She can get primo dollar down in Tampa in Hillsborough County.
Hillsborough County, Martin County.
Is that what it's called? I thought it was Hillsborough.
It says here Martin County.
Oh, no. I'm saying that in Tampa, if she was in Tampa.
Oh, it's in Tampa. You're
which
just
I believe
saying
is correct.
From a market perspective.
Correct.
Make more money in Tampa than in the county that she's currently in.
Correct. The Rays really attract men that are looking for gummy BJs. And that is where, that's where I think her specialty lay, not in hoarding cats.
Was she doing the work with those gums, Brian? Is what Janelle is asking.
I only think you, as the champion, would be able to answer that. I mean, you've told me that in all your business travels, you went down to, what was it, Marin County? You had a hotel down there. I remember you saying, but it was a cat
No,
hotel.
you are incorrect as usual.
You kept calling it a cat hotel that you had just become owners of, and you would go down to check on it.
Next up, Brian, Jason Alexander apologizes to Courtney Stodden over a 2012 sketch filmed when she was 17. Courtney Stodden, who first became famous marrying a 51-year-old actor at age 16, resurfaced a 2012 Funny or Die sketch this week, calling out Seinfeld star Jason Alexander for what she describes as repeatedly rubbing his phone across her chest on camera while she was 17, joking there was, quote, plenty of signal there, and later joking about wanting to be alone with her once she turned 18. At the time, media coverage of the bit barely registered her age, with only a couple of outlets flagging discomfort. Stodden says she had no real say in whether to participate. The contracts were adult business. The paycheck went to her then husband, and she was, quote, the only child in the room. Alexander has since issued a public apology, calling the sketch inappropriate and saying he's deeply sorry for any harm caused. He also made a donation to a charity promoted by Courtney Stodden. Stodden says she appreciates the public statement, but is still waiting on a private one and is using the moment to push California legislation banning marriage for minors without exception. So if you remember, Brian, she was married at age 16 because her parents gave the okay for her to get married to a 51-year-old.
And I remember you saying that, somebody, as a man in his 50s, this was something you saw nothing wrong with. I remember, and I think it was episodes, and I remember it was a series for like a month and a half. We fought over this. I think it was episodes 26 through 30, where I sat there and I said, no 16-year-old should be married to a man over 50. And you kept making the argument of, but her parents gave their blessing, so it's all okay. Left me feeling very, very uncomfortable. But I'm very glad that she feels comfortable now coming out and speaking out about it. I wish she felt comfortable at the time, but that was clearly, in her own words, not the environment that they provided her with. And I'm also going to say kudos to her for pointing out that Jason Alexander's current efforts of issuing public apologies and donations to her charities, that's not the same as picking up the phone and saying, hey, I'm sorry. Can I meet up and apologize to you in person? I would like to look you in the face and say, I'm sorry. That carries a lot of weight with me. Clearly the same with her. Maybe we both were married when we were 16 and have that in common. But that's something that I think goes a long way as a personal apology.
So now my memory is a little different about that discussion we had, because I remember you saying to me you were really pushing for the U.S. to lower the age that people could get married at. Your argument was, I'm eventually going to run out of legal aged women to marry, and I will need to broaden the field at some point. That is the memory I have.
No, Rod, I think you have that wrong. Fucker.
Next up, we're going to go to one of our favorite bits. You love it. The fans love it. Republicans don't love it. It's called But the Drag Queens Are the Problem. Again, the right seems to think that, drag queens are focusing on perverting our children, grooming them, sexually assaulting them. We've only found one drag queen in the 28 years that we've been doing this bit. I've got 3 stories, Brian. Let's see if any one of them are a drag queen. And this first one is, nope, it's another school teacher, Brian. It is a former Hertfordshire. I'm sure your wife will correct me. on
For
that
sure.
pronunciation later. Hertfordshire, England school teacher Deborah Franklin, now 65 years old, is on trial accused of sexually abusing a student starting when he was around 9 or 10 years old in the early 1990s, with the alleged abuse continuing for roughly 4 years. The now
Gee.
40-something accuser testified that Franklin, his private tutor at the time, built what felt to him like a close friendship before things turned sexual, including instances he says took place on her own marital bed where she allegedly restrained and blindfolded him. He says he didn't understand what was happening at the time and trusted her completely, only later recognizing it as abuse as he got older. Franklin denies all 8 charges of gross indecency with a boy under 14. The trial is still ongoing.
Ron, you told me that you like to be tied up and blindfolded. How, like, if that happened to you while you were still a minor, how would that make you feel?
I mean, I think it's distressing at that age, Brian. I sympathize for the victim.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I understand.
This next story, is this a drag queen? Let me just read it real quick. No, Brian, this is an engineering manager from Meta. Yes, from the company that is responsible for Facebook. This is Josh Felker, age 44, who described his job on LinkedIn as building, quote, digital experiences for kids. He was arrested in Manhattan after a confrontation with the group Predator Poachers Long Island, who say he'd been messaging a decoy account he believed belonged to a 13-year-old girl since May. With cameras rolling, Felker reportedly admitted to the exchanges on the spot, telling one group member who was posing as the girl's grandmother, quote, even though inappropriate things had already gone on, I just almost wish I could be her dad. NYPD arrested him shortly after, charging him with disseminating indecent material to minors and endangering the welfare of a child. He's pleaded not guilty and is due back in court in September. Meta has placed him on leave and is saying it's cooperating with the investigation. Felker is married with a young child. And that is exactly the face you would hope to see on someone getting confronted by this. Like, that is a man who's realized he has just flushed his entire life down the
Of course. That's disgusting. Yeah, we need to punish people like that more than they already are.
All right, let's see. We've got one more story here. Let's see if we're finally going to get the drag queen. And no, this is a West Virginia state lawmaker. West Virginia Republican David Elliott Pritt, age 36. He was the assistant majority leader in the House and a married father of 4, has been arrested on federal coercion and enticement charges, plus third-degree sexual assault after a 2-week Homeland Security investigation. According to the criminal complaint, Pritt began messaging the victim through Roblox and then Snapchat while she was an 8th grader at the middle school where he taught, starting in late 2024. The messages reportedly grew more personal over the school year, with Pritt allegedly telling her he loved her by the end of 8th grade. That summer, he allegedly began sending her sexually explicit images and asking for the same in return. When Pritt moved to teaching at a high school that fall, he allegedly had the girl come to his classroom, where the abuse is said to have occurred 5 to 10 times through January. Communication allegedly continued until July, with Pritt reportedly warning her in June not to tell anyone, saying, quote, the state police show up and take your phone and mine and open up hell in our lives, and that he'd, quote, lose my entire life. The victim's family contacted police July 9th, and Pritt was arrested days later. West Virginia House Speaker Roger Hanshaw called the allegations shocking, disgusting, and disappointing, and he called on Pritt to resign. He's been stripped of his official legislative roles and is currently being held in jail.
Listen, I'm going to say not a good look. Not a good look, Ron.
Also, and this is kind of going back, I can't remember if the story was last week or the week before, where again it was a mugshot where they had written the height markers in marker on the wall. This looks to be the same situation. Why are police agencies not spending the money on like actual height things for their mugshots?
I mean, listen. This is a lot better than the one we had last week. This is good enough. They just painted it on the wall behind them. I think this is acceptable to me. I mean, he's a short.
I also
kid.
like the fact that we can see by this that he's 5'4". Not representing short kings well out there.
Which is odd because he's 5'4", but the eyebrows are 5 feet. Like there's a legit 4 inches of space of forehead there. He's going to get tagged a lot on the forehead once he goes to prison.
Yeah. I mean, that is the only good thing about when these guys go to prison is how much other prisoners hate pedophiles, and he'll get messed up. I don't know if I sent you this TikTok, but it was somebody was getting arraigned on charges, and he wasn't in court though. He was in like a room at the jail with like a whole bunch of other inmates sitting behind him, and he was like, "Judge, I'd like to waive the reading of my charges." And the judge was like, "Well, you don't get to make that decision." And he starts to read off the charges, and it's all sexual assault of minors charges. And like you literally saw all of the inmates like sitting there were like just all turn their heads towards him, and he knew he was getting
he's fucked. He's fucked at that point. Fuck him. Disgusting.
So Brian, I couldn't help but notice that you are wearing a Sick of It All t-shirt this evening.
Yes.
The band, who is celebrating their 40th anniversary this year, gave the sad news that their frontman, Lou Collar, passing away at age 59 from cancer. I know you are a fan. His band. Beyond fan. I think you are probably the best out of the two of us to give the man his eulogy here.
I will speak of the man, and I'm going to tell you something. I will. I'm not going to deliver anything that is quite worthy of who he was. First off, he was 61. Everybody gets his age wrong. Neither here nor there. The band Sick of It All basically is at the literal core of what is considered New York hardcore punk. Every band that has come out from that scene has Lou and the band to thank for having blazoned the trail ahead of them. Lou himself was one of the nicest guys. I will say I was fortunate enough to work a Life of Agony tour. I want to say about 3 years ago, where Life of Agony and Sick of It All co-headlined a tour through the Northeast. We did about 2.5 weeks. I was fortunate enough 5 days a week to be in the same venue with Sick of It All to watch Lou do his thing. He was entertaining. He was personable. He was genuinely a good person. There are not many people left like that. Unfortunately, he got sick several years back. Nobody is immune. Baseball, every year during the All-Star game, everyone's standing up there with the sign of somebody that they know that has been inflicted with the dreaded disease of cancer. Lou, he also he fell sick to it. Fought several years. There were times where it looked like he was going to beat it. It looked like there were times where he was not going to beat it. And unfortunately, this was something that was stronger than he was. He will be sorely missed. The scene will miss him. His band will miss him. His friends will miss him. The world will not be the same. A lot of people are going to be like, who? Don't know him. And I will say to those people, you missed out. You missed out badly.
All right. And as we can say, as we have often said, fuck cancer. I think we can say that. You turn your lights off. Does that mean the show is over, Brian?
No, not at all. Because I don't even know how to turn my lights back on. Hold on.
Brian has turned off the house lights, so I think that means it is time to wrap up episode 415. As mentioned earlier, we are going to get ready for After Dark. Our pajama party will be starting in about 25 minutes. If you have not gone to Patreon to sign up, you still have time to do so at cultofronandbrian.com. But otherwise, we thank everybody for joining us tonight. Brian, anything else before we wrap up this majestic episode 415?
I'm just going to say this, people, you got 26 minutes. If you think that I'm sweating a lot now, you should come on After Dark. I will be, the pressure I feel to win a Can You Be, I've got my fan already here. It is aimed at me. I am trying to keep the temperature ready, but I'm going to be sweating. I take this game very seriously. Last month, an epic comeback. I was able to hold back the challengers. We'll see how I do this month.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you all for joining us. Patreon folks, we'll see you in a little bit. Everybody else, we will see you next Sunday night.
Takes rising, orders given. Once you're in,